Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to my channel, to my bookland, and to another coffee time. So grab your mug because I'm here to let you know everything that I read in the month of October.
It's coffee time!
So in October I wanted to read a little bit more horror because the whole year was kind of me trying to experience new books, new genres. I read a lot of things I never expected to read, and now I'm going back to horror a little bit because I miss it a lot and I needed my horror fix. So in the month of October I have read a total of 12 things. It's kind of a little bit mixed, so let's get to those things, and basically I'm gonna rate it from the lowest to the highest rating. So in the month of October I read a total of 12 things. 2 of them were YA, 6 were adult, 1 middle grade, and 3 graphic novels. So apart from the graphic novels, I read 1 thriller, 1 historical fiction, 6 horror, and 1 romance. So first of all, with 3.5 coffee mugs, we have What You Found in the Woods by Josephine Angelini. I got this one at the YAL convention in London and I was expecting a nice thriller, which it kind of was a thriller, but I was very disappointed. It is the story of Magda. So she apparently had some trouble at her older school, so her parents are sending her to spend some time with her grandparents so that she can recover from all the events that she had to experience. And while she's there, girls start to disappear and they are being found killed. And one of the things I really hated about this book, well, not really hated, but I didn't like it, is that we have insta love and it's very cringe and it's very stupid and unexpected and illogical. And this book also deals with drug abuse and mental illness, and I don't think it was dealt that great. So, you know, there is a trigger warning here for physical abuse, murder, and drug abuse as well. So I was kind of sad because I thought I was gonna really enjoy this thriller, but then it just ended up, you know, not being that great. But I did like the writing style and a couple of things about it, so that is what I gave it 3.5 and not less. Next, I read a couple of graphic novels that I got at NetGalley, and they were due for October, so I had to get to them, which is great because they're a great break between books. So the first graphic novel I gave 3.5 coffee mugs, and that is Unplugged and Unpopular by Matt Hegarty, Tintin Pantoja, and Mike Amante. And one of the things that I really liked about this graphic novel is that, you know, it's kind of letting us know how dangerous the modern times can be when it comes to technology, because anybody can know where you are at any time, tracking you on your phone device. And I love that, you know, there is this young kid that if they would take her phone away, she wouldn't know how to do certain things because you know, it's kind of, in this graphic novel, libraries are kind of nearly non-existent anymore. So I really did love that, and I think this would be a great graphic novel for younger readers. Then with 4 coffee mugs, we have Mooncakes by Suzanne Walker and Wendy Tsu, and I love this one. This was such a cute love story and the artwork was just stunning. And there were a couple of scenes that were unfinished because the copy that I got was an ARC, so there were a couple of things that were unfinished, but still the art was just so beautiful. It's basically the story of 2 childhood friends that, you know, reunite later on when they both find themselves trying to fight this demon, and so they kind of find each other again, and the spark is there again of love, and it was super cute. It was super cute. Also with 4 coffee mugs, we have The Twilight Man, Rod Serling and the Birth of Television by Corinne Shatmy, and this is based on the story of the guy that created Twilight Zone, the show, which is a great horror show, and I absolutely love to read this graphic novel. And if you like the Twilight Zone, you should definitely check this one out. I think it's a must read for the shows, and I love how they kind of captured his personality and the way that they told us his story. I thought it was really clever, and I really enjoyed this graphic novel. Moving on to the only middle grade that I read last month, and that is The Grave Digger by Rebecca Bishop. I gave this one as well 4 coffee mugs because I was surprised how dark this book was, even though it is for middle grades. And basically I got this one from NetGalley, and I thought it would be the perfect story also for the Halloween season. And it is a story about a 12-year-old called Cap Cooper, and he lives in the 1800s, and it is kind of exploring something that was a real problem back then, which is grave robbers. People that would just steal the corpses. And Cap's father is kind of involved in this weird business, and he always takes his son, which is 12, okay, it's 12, to help him rob corpses. And I thought this was kind of like a disturbing topic for, you know, a middle grade book, and it was very dark, but it was really well done, so I really did enjoy the story. Another 4 coffee mug rating was A Darker Shade by Lara K. Curtis, another one that I got from NetGalley, and this is kind of like psychological thriller slash supernatural horror story. And what I really loved about this one is that it kind of read like the typical Victorian Gothic tales, but a little bit modernized. So the story is the following. We have this girl that needs money to pay for college and for her sister's college, and she gets offered this babysitter job that sounds too good to be true, and it is to go to this mansion to take care of 2 little girls. And one of the girls lost her mom not long ago, and after her mom passed away, she stopped talking. So they also tell her if she gets the little girl to talk, they will pay her even more, like an extra. So she takes the job, and she goes to this mansion where she knows she's going to be incommunicated through winter because of the snow. And when she gets there, the little girl, you know, starts to see ghosts, and there are kind of like appearances in the house. So it's kind of like a ghost story, and I really loved it. It was really cute. It was, I don't know, it was like these warm stories that they're not too complicated, they're not too kind of surprising, there's not like a huge twist, but they're still really enjoyable, and it is a great winter read. Another 4 coffee mug rating is 1 Week Till Christmas by Belinda Misson, another one that I got from NetGalley because I saw this book and I was like, between all of the horror and stuff, I just need a nice Christmas cheesy romantic story, and this is exactly what I got. This is a perfect book if you love cheesy love stories based on Christmas season. You're gonna love this one. It's basically the story about 2 strangers whose paths cross in the most random way, and then they are trying to figure out what kind of relationship they want to have with each other, because they are both very independent, very secure people. And I really enjoyed this one, but like I said, it's not a book that you have to go with very high expectations. It's just like a nice cheesy romance. Next I read The Shining by Stephen King, and I gave this 4 coffee mugs. This was a reread for me, and I still decided to leave it at 4 coffee mugs. It's not one of my absolute favorite Stephen King books, but I really loved the story. And you probably know what this is about, but we're following the Torrance family, and the father is having trouble to get a stable job, so he's offered this job to take care of this hotel, the Overlook Hotel, over the winter season when it's closed. And he goes there with his family, and they're trapped there because of the snowstorms. And while they're in the hotel, the father starts to go a little bit cuckoo, and the kid Danny Torrance, he starts to see ghosts, which is what it's called, The Shining. And yeah, really enjoy the story. If you love the movie, you can check out the book. There are some differences, even the room number is different from the book and the movie. So if you love the book, I think you would like the movie, and if you love the movie, I also think you would like the book. I know there were things that were changed, but you know, anyways, I loved the book, and then I watched the movie, and I still thought it was a pretty good movie, so I was not even mad that some things were changed. And the reason why I reread The Shining is so that I could read Dr. Sleep by Stephen King because the movie is coming out and I wanted to give this one a reread as well. I also gave this one 4 coffee mugs and I really enjoyed the story. We're following the story of Danny Torrance, the kid from The Shining, when he's older and he's had himself his own problems with alcohol and he's a recovering alcoholic. And he gets one day kind of reached out by a little girl that she seems to have the shining like he had, and some evil people are after her, so Danny Torrance decides to step in and help her. And I really love the character development in this book because it is so rich. The characters are all so different and I absolutely loved it. And I cannot wait to see the movie. The next one with 4 coffee mugs, and you know, I've been giving very good ratings in the month of October, so it was a pretty decent month when it comes to enjoying the books that I was reading. And the next one is Bird Box by Josh Malerman. I wanted to watch the Netflix movie for a while, but I wanted to read the book first, and I'm so glad that I waited. I'm glad that I'm one of those annoying people that want to read the book first if they can. We're following the story of Mallory, and she lives in, you know, the modern society, and one day there is this event that starts some sort of apocalypse in the world, and there are people that are acting really strange and it is being broadcasted all over the news. They don't know what's going on, and they figure out that these people all seem to see something before they go crazy and kill themselves. And so people are looking for cover inside houses. They are covering the windows. They are covering their eyes because they are in fear of seeing this thing that makes you crazy. And so we're following the story of the survivors, and it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic book because the apocalypse starts at the very beginning. And I absolutely freaking loved the book, and I saw that the book is getting part 2 next year, so I'm glad that I read it so that when the sequel comes out, I'm ready to read it. I don't think the movie is really bad, but it cannot be compared to the book because there were many changes that were made in the movie that I did not agree with. I didn't think they were necessary, and it was everything too convenient. So I loved the book better, and also the book was gaudier. Then we have a book that surprised me, and that is Not Even Bones by Rebecca Schaeffer, and this is book 1 in the Market of Monsters, I believe it's called. And this is a YA horror slash fantasy book, and I didn't know how much I was gonna love this book. The main story, which is the reason why I picked it up, is that we live in a world where there are unnatural creatures, and those are being hunted, and their parts are being sold on the dark market because people think that by eating parts of their bodies they can, you know, get the properties, whatever kind of gift or power that those unnatural creatures had. They believe that by eating their body parts they take some of that. Gross. And we're following the story of Nita. She's a teenager and her mom works in this black market. She kills unnaturals and she brings them back to the morgue that they have, and Nita chops them up for her, kind of dissects them, gets them apart, and puts the body pieces in jars or whatever to send them to people that buy them from them. And it was fantastic. I did not expect such a roller coaster and so many, you know, scenes where you didn't know what's gonna happen next, because it was a kind of adventure but with horror and fantasy, and it was also gaudier than I expected. So I definitely loved it, and the second book is already out, so I need to get my hands on that book. And the last book that I want to talk to you about is also the book that I read the last, and I gave 5 coffee mugs, and that is The Remaking. This is a great exploration of how horror legends develop through time when they're being told and retold through, you know, campfire stories, but also through movies that are being made out of those legends. And the main story that we get to know at the very beginning of the book is about this girl that is being dishonored by her family because she has a gift, and the family is very ashamed of that. So they kind of send her away, and she hides in the woods where she gets a daughter, and everybody in town think that her and her daughter that starts to grow up and develop powers even stronger than her mother, they think they are witches, so they decide to kill them because that's what humans do when they fear something. And so this kind of starts a curse. And after that first story that we're being told at the very beginning, we can see how people take this legend and tell it in campfires and tell it in movies and remake the movies. And I absolutely loved it. I love the writing style. I freaking loved it so much. I already want to reread it. That's how much I loved it. And it is a short book. It's under 300 pages. And it is a great horror book if you're looking for something before the end of the year. And I think if you love horror movies as much as I do, you would really appreciate this book, because I think it's kind of nostalgic in a way. I don't know, because it feels like this typical 90s movies that were made out of legends and things like that. I don't know. It just gave me so much joy, so I gave it 5 coffee mugs. And this is everything that I read in the month of October. I got a couple of books on my Kindle that I got from NetGalley, and then I read all of these plus the graphic novels, and I'm super happy because the 2 Stephen King books were already a little bit chunky, so I'm happy that I got through so much stuff in the month of October, because I was saying I'm just gonna be happy if I get to The Shining and Doctor Sleep. I'll be already happy because they are a little bit chunkier than other books. So I'm really glad that I got to read so much. And let me know what was your favorite read from the books that you read in the month of October. I hope that you enjoyed this wrap up. Please give the video a big thumbs up. Thanks so much, you guys, for always being there supporting. If you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you don't miss any more coffee times with me, and also hit the notification bell so you're notified every time that I upload a new video. And I do have Goodreads, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The links to those can be found in the description box down below, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!